By 2002, the Bionicle series was in full stride. The franchise was a commercial success because of LEGO's marketing push and the universe behind the toys. The Borak saga was the first real story arc because, let's face it, 2001 story was kind of boring. This year offered more games available on their website, 4 instead of the previous 3. How well do these ones hold up?
Might as well start with Huai Snowball Sling. I don't know what the word Huai means beside being a river in China, but the Huai Snowball Sling is a sport in the Bionicle universe, and this game apparently follows the sport perfectly. The fact that I've never heard of the sport until now probably means it never caught on like Coley did. First off, the game uses the same assets as the first Bionicle game on GBA, which is a bad sign because that game sucks hard. Bad omen, perhaps? Oh yes it is! I have done nothing to this frame rate. That's how the game comes. You also can't see any more than the camera shows you, and you can't move. Just throw snowballs everywhere and all the time to win. I'm a snowball champion. Madanui Explorer. That sounds pretty cool, a way to explore the island in its entirety. I guess without the game of Madanui Online Game. You get a list of locations to look at. I'll pick Laikoro because best place, and It's just a tiny game map with no clip on. There's no detail on anything whatsoever, and nothing to stop you from going through the ground. And apparently every Matoran lives in the same hut because they use the same model in every location aside from Kini Nui. It's also just plain wrong. This isn't at all what Takoro looks like. Battle for Madanui promises a little more action. The Fog of War gives away this as a real-time strategy game, and I failed spectacularly at the strategy aspect of it. I just threw all my Matoran, Liwa, and Matau at the Borak and got massacred. You do actually have mask powers, tools, and nature to give an edge, but I really don't care. Real-time strategy games are already my least favorite game genre, and everything in this game is too small to effectively click, especially when you need to click on moving Boraks to engage them. Even if you use all the options available, it's a safe bet this probably doesn't compare to StarCraft. This last one isn't a Flash game, but it's lumped in with the rest of the game, so I'll include it. These are desktop toys. Install them onto your computer and they walk around the screen. There's a Borak, Takua, and a Toa. I basically said the whole thing already. They just walk around and you can drag them. But they look kinda lonely, don't they? Let's give them some friends. Yeah, try and get any work done like this.
That was all of 2002. I just reviewed all of the games. Maybe this is the reason no one reviews Flash games. You need to surplus them to make one standard length of video. Yeah, 2003 didn't really have anything. Let's just throw that in here. This isn't even a current decision. I totally said in the last video I was going to do 2 years. Why am I bringing this up now? Things are decided in advance?
There wasn't much for 2003 on the Flash game front. I guess LEGO assumed their fans would be busy with Bionicle the game, clearly not for long, that game's barely 2 hours long, and Mask of Light. To promote the latter, a group of 6 minigames were released. Mini is right, I can probably summarize them all in one reasonably sized paragraph. That's a challenge, let's do it. Pohatu is another matching game like Let the Legend Begin, but harder and no contest. Anua is Remembering the Rhythm. Gali is that Land the Helicopter game you've played at least once. Liwa dodges clouds forever. Tahu collects 25 tokens on a lava board. Hey, it's actually like a scene in the movie. And Kopaka is one of those drag the mouse carefully across a line things. Jawa dies if you fail. You can do it repeatedly. Hope Taku has gone through enough development to accept his destiny now.
Well then, I guess we need to talk about the real meat of a game to prevent this video from being really short. 2003 was another one of those years LEGO was really pushing Bionicle, and as such we have another Madanui Online game to look at. I didn't bring it up last time. That's kind of a strange title. All the games are online. That's what a Flash game is. Never mind how I am playing them offline right now, but with a title like that you'd think it'd be some sort of MMO or something similar. Which in the case of this game is a scarily accurate comparison.
At least this game has the same production effort as the original. It still looks really nice for a Flash game. There usually isn't music again, but it's cool when it's there, and I think they're original tracks this time. They also fixed my biggest problem with a third-person camera. There's one image for each area, and the characters are seen at all times, so navigation is easier. You guys ready for the negatives? Because it's everything else! I suddenly realized why people love Madanui Online games so much, because it isn't 2! We'll work our way up. The story sucks in this game. The first game was about saving Madanui from the threat of Makuta, helping everyone because you needed everyone united to stand up to the threat. In this game, you play as Holly, training for a Koli tournament. No stakes whatsoever, no one is in serious peril, it's just sports. Maybe there's something extra and sinister hidden in these notes that are all written in Matoran language, but I don't have the time to manually translate them like this is Metal Gear, and I don't think you would either, given the length of some of these. By the way, how come some of the Koli fields are in Matoran while others are in English? Even if story wasn't a major concern for an adventure game, playing it isn't any more fun. Third-person view is actually a bad thing, turns out, because Holly now has to walk to the edge of a screen before the scene will switch, and she's slow while screens can be really big. I compared Pokoro in the last game to Uncharted 3's Desert. I had no idea how bad it would be here. Guess what the world as a whole is this time? It's bigger! It's mostly linear. You can walk from Gakuro to Lakoro and pass every other Wahi on the way off as a side path, but holy hell, it takes so long to get anywhere! Nothing to make you appreciate an older mechanic better than seeing something new fuck it up so bad. But that's not really the bad part, oh no! When the game starts, Holly is picked to be Gakuro's Koli champion out of the blue, so she's naturally terrible at the beginning and needs to level up her stats. There are 6, so of course each stat has 1 Koro to learn it in, which already means you need to travel everywhere. That's bad. The minigames to increase the stats get progressively harder, but you can only get 1 point per run, so it just exponentially gets longer on the way to the max level of 100 per stat. And some of these games aren't free. You need items like discs or balls to play them, which you need to buy.
So, what's the deal with that?
This is the real world of Madanui. You can't expect items and resources for free. The island runs on a barter system. You can trade items for either other items or money, and use that money to buy more items that you'll need to finish the game, like the aforementioned discs and balls to get your stats high enough to win the Koli games. Like I said, it could take hours to get those stats up, and with the games getting longer, you'd need hundreds of each of those items. I'll break it down by explaining a path to getting items. To buy a decent amount of items, you'll need the reward for selling rigging. Rigging requires rope and nets to craft. Both rope and nets require string to make. String needs to be crafted from flax. Flax is created by combining harakeke plants and cowrie shells. To harvest the plants, you'll need a sickle. To make a sickle, you'll need bamboo. To get bamboo, you'll need a hatchet. And keep in mind, you need multiples, usually 10 of an item to make one of the next line up. So by the time you reach the bottom, you'll need thousands of those harakeke plants, of which there are only a couple dozen scattered across Gakuro, which need time to respawn before collecting more. Keep in mind, this isn't like Minecraft where you craft the items in your inventory. No, you need to visit certain Matoran who can take the raw materials and combine them into something better. They're never conveniently placed either. The Matoran who can make flax is on the far right side of Gakuro, while the Matoran who takes the flax and makes string is on the far left. And I already said it takes forever to cross any location. It's agonizing to keep doing it and only make a few steps forward. Let's make it worse, shall we? NPCs wander around their town. What does that mean? It means crafters aren't always in their homes, and if they're out, they can't work. That means it's possible to spend minutes walking across town to make an item, and they're not there. If that happens, just kill time by farming more raw materials and hope they come back. Then you make string, and son of a bitch, the Matoran who turns the string into stuff is gone now. Not only does this mechanic suck for just this reason, but it's made worse by the fact there's absolutely no reason for it to exist. It's just there to piss off the player, which it succeeds marvelously at. There's more items to find, too. Certain Matoran can give Holly a charm that represents a virtue. Others are found sitting across the world, and there's around 15 of them total. Seeing as how some of them represent the same virtues that you build up, you'd think they offer some gameplay change. That's actually entirely wrong. They're just keys. Each of the other Koros have a room locked behind 3 doors, each of which requires a charm to open. Getting into that room nets you a crystal. What do those crystals do? I don't know, besides further driving in the point that this entire game is just one big trade quest. Of course, that's assuming you can pick up the charms to begin with. Kongu, move. I'm trying to get that charm. Kongu, just walk a little so I can get it. Kongu, fuck, move, you dumbass! I'm not a good critic of my own writing, so I don't know if I fully made it evident how much item grinding and time wasting this game contains. So instead, I'll describe it. I have 2 hours of footage where I spent the majority of it grinding string to make rigging so I could sell it to buy anything before I even explored anything outside of Gakoro. In that 2 hours, I never got enough to make 1 rigging. For comparison, an unskilled player can beat the first Madanui Online game in that time I wasted in the sequel.
By that 2-hour mark, I was seriously considering calling it quits and just writing the review before I'd even finished the game, declaring that it wouldn't be worth getting to anything enjoyable. That's when I noticed the download I had contained an extra file called Manual Save Editing. I resisted it at first because that'd be cheating, but as time went on and I realized this review would never be done playing the game normally, I looked.
I admit it, I edited my save file to max out my inventory, give myself as much of every single item I could hold with level 100 stats. I just want to play some fucking Koli now. These poor Onimatori don't know the storm that approaches. Yeah, that's right, buddy, get wrecked. Go back to your underground village and tell them it was Holly that sent you packing. And so, the super being Holly traveled across Matanui to just fucking destroy everyone at the sport she had never played. First fell the mighty Po Matorans, whose strength was not enough to prepare them for high-velocity rocks straight to their heads. More tragic was the plight of the Ko Matoran players, whose pride was their downfall. After scoring 1 goal on the cool athletes, Matoro lost it and attempted to tackle Holly in a fit of rage. Though he failed, he was arrested and found guilty for the crime of assault and attempted battery. Next came the Lay Matoran, who were not as good at blocking as their charm-hiding player had us believe. Even the captain of the guard and chronicler of Takoro were no match for Holly's impossible Koli skill. In fact, Holly's astounding game sent fear into the other Matoran so fiercely she skipped the championship match and still won. She then returned to her home of Gakoro, where she crowned herself Goddess of Games, overtaking the great spirit Matanui in the process. Though she lived a life of being worshipped, not all was well for our heroine. She now resides in an alternate dimension where she must fight for survival daily in gladiatorial combat. We wish her the best of luck. Godspeed, Holly, champion of the greatest game ever played. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. I'm also a part of a Let's Play channel you can check out if we ever upload, or you can look at my Twitter account where I've posted some strange things. I'm probably working on the next video now, so stay tuned.